because you're measuring. Okay, for example, افترض أنك يتيم. Okay, so imagine that you are orphan, for example. So this is also about measurement. So when you're imagining, you are measuring. You understand? Okay, and obviously there is third meaning. In my own understanding, that's technical meaning, but for some reason big number of linguists, they consider that that's also literal meaning, linguistic meaning. So farada is necessitating something. For example, king orders something. Okay, so that is also fard. Okay, so because king is ordering. Okay, but in my own research, the meaning of necessitating, okay, it's given to this word of fard by the theologians. Okay, but Arabic language, for that they have another word. For example, amara, okay, or awjaba, okay, but not fard. But anyway, fard is technical. So anyway, and fard is measurement and specified. So because of that root meaning, we use it in the technical term in fiqh for the specific share of inheritance. Okay, so that is the meaning of fard. Fara'id, it is a specific amount of shares, which is received by specific category of a people. المجمع على توريثهم من الذكور. So the following category of male relatives, they receive inheritance, fara'id, inheritance, by consensus of the scholars, of the fuqaha. So who are these male relatives? So there are 10, there are 10. Al-ibn wa ibn al-ibn wa in safal. So son and son, grandson through the males, regardless how low it is. Okay, so as long as there is no upper category, so that it will continue. Wa in safal, regardless how long it will continue, as long as no one does hajj, no one bans. Wal ab, father, wajaddu, wal jad, abul ab, so the grandfather, but through the males. Wa in ala, even if it will be, even if it will continue. Wal akh, so brother, wabnul akh. Okay, so son of the brother. Wal am, paternal uncle. Wabnul am, cousin, paternal cousin. Wazoj, husband. Wa mawla ni'ma. And the mawla ni'ma, it is the master who frees a slave. Okay, so mawla is, if you remember, the owner. In Arabic language, mawla means owner or master. And ni'ma is bounty, grant. Okay, so favor. Because by freeing a slave, you are doing favor. So that's how it is. Mawla ni'ma is used for the master who frees a slave. So these are 10 categories of people who receive inheritance. وَمِنَ الْإِنَاثِ سَبْعٌ. Can you guys hear me properly, or shall we? Okay. So 7 category of women relatives, female relatives, they also receive by consensus. So bint, daughter, وبنت الابن, granddaughter from the son's side. Okay, so والأم, mother, والجدة, grandmother, والأخت, sister, والزوجة, wife, and ومولاة النعمة, as well as female master or mistress. ولا يرث أربعة. So 4 category of people, they do not receive inheritance. المملوك, okay, the slave. Okay, so we spoke about it many times. والقاتل من المقتول. Okay, so the killer. So if you kill someone, you do not receive inheritance from that person. والمرتد, and apostate. Okay, so if you remember, we spoke about the issue of apostasy. وأهل الملتين, and the people who belong to 2 different two different religions, but this is specifically about Muslim and non-Muslim. But what about two non-Muslim? For example, Christian, will he receive from his Jewish relative? Okay, well, according to Hanafi school, yes, they do receive. Let me just switch it off, sorry. Yeah. والفروض المحدودة في كتاب الله تعالى ستة. Okay, so the shares which to be received, you know, the shares, so there are 6. Okay, 3 and 3, so root, so 2 roots actually. In each root there are 3, so in total there are 6. Okay, so either nusf, which is mentioned in Quran, okay, for example in Surah An-Nisa, okay, يوصيكم الله في أولادكم للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. Do you remember the in Surah An-Nisa? So nusf, so 1/2, والربع, quarter, والثمن, 1/8. Quduri is going to explain who will get how much. Okay, so and so that's the first root. Okay, the first root is half and half of half and half of half of half. Okay, then thuluthan, okay, 2/3, and then thuluth, 1/3, and sudus, 1/6. So it is to do with third. Okay, so third, 2/3, and third, and third of third. Okay, which is 6th. Understand? So it is like 2 roots: half, half of half, half of half of half, 2/3, third, and half of third. Okay, so half of third, which is 6th, isn't it? So anyway, okay, so now let's talk about each of them. So half. فالنصف فرض خمسة. So half of the inheritance received by the following category. So it's 5 categories of people. First is fardul bint. So the daughter, she will get the half. So it's only 1 daughter. But if it's 2 daughters, so they receive 2/3. Or even more. For example, 3 daughters, they receive 2/3. وبنت الابن إذا لم تكن بنت الصلب. So, and also a daughter of the son, so she will receive also half if there is no a daughter. So for example, John Smith is dying, okay, so and he has a granddaughter from his son's daughter, but he does not have a daughter, so his granddaughter will get 1/3.
Sorry, so is that dependent on that he hasn't got any other sons?
Sorry?
If he had multiple sons,
yes,
then would that granddaughter still get half?
Yeah. So she will get the half, and then sons they will do the asaba. Yeah, inshallah we'll have this concept of idla, we'll have concept of hajib and concept of asaba. Inshallah, when we'll complete, you'll understand all of that. Then he says, وَبِنْتُ الْإِبْنِ إِذَا لَمْ تَكُنْ وَالْأُخْتِ, and also it is the sister. Okay, so she receives the half also. I lost the thing. Okay. والأخت من الأب والأم والأخت من الأب إذا لم تكن أخت لأب وأم. So the sister, so she will get also 1/2. Okay, and so there are 2 types of sisters, isn't there? So full sister, okay, and half sister. So half sister are 2. Half sister from the father, so she will be, if there is no full sister, so she will be acting as full sister. Okay, but if there is full sister, so full sister has got priority. Okay, so that's the second. And third one, half sister from the mother. Okay, so we classify them as ذوو الأرحام. والزوج إذا لم يكن للميت ولد ولا ولد ابن. And also the husband, he will get the half as long as the deceased lady, she doesn't have children. So if she has a children, he gets a quarter. Okay. والربع. So the quarter. Okay, so this is the all of the categories who will receive the half. The second is quarter. So quarter, who will receive the quarter? الزوج مع الولد أو ولد الابن. So it is the husband, it is the share of the husband if there is فرع وارث. Okay, فرع وارث is the one who receives inheritance. Okay, so on that level to perform hajj. Okay, for example, in our situation, lady, okay, she dies, okay, and there is husband and there is son of the deceased lady. Okay, so if there would not be son, husband would get half. Okay, but because there is son, okay, so the husband will receive 1/4. Okay, والزوجات إذا لم يكن للميت ولد ولا ولد, and also the wife, she gets quarter. Okay, if there is no فرع وارث, but if there is فرع وارث, if you remember, we said she will get 1/8. والثمن فرض الزوجات مع الولد. Okay, so the 1/8 it belongs to the wives if there is فرع وارث. So for example, John Smith dies and there is wife and there is son of John Smith. Okay, so the wife will get 1/8. The rest will go back to the son. Okay, so anyway, so that is the first rule. Okay, half, okay, quarter, 1/8. Okay, so as you can see, it is only about memorizing. Okay, so I remember it was one of the most boring chapters, you know, when we used to study. Kuduri, I studied in 1995. Yeah, so it was one of the most boring because it's only about memorizing. Okay, the next is what thuluthan, the second root. Okay, if you remember, 2/3, third, and 1/6. If you remember, so 2/3. لكل اثنين فصاعدا ممن فرضه النصف إلا الزوج. Okay, so if you remember, we said we spoke about anyone who receives half of the mirath. Do you remember? So if it's only one, for example, daughter, she receives half of the mirath. But what about if it's not only one daughter but more, two or more? Okay, so they will all together will receive 2/3. Okay, so anyone who receives half of the mirath except the husband. So if there will be not one but more than one of them, so they all together they will get 2/3, and then they will split it up. إلا الزوج, except the husband. If you remember, husband receives half. Do you remember? If there is no فرع وارث. Okay, so is it possible that there will be more than one husband? Okay, so that is about 2/3. Okay, and what about third? والثلث للأم إذا لم يكن للميت ولد. Third belongs to the mother if the deceased person does not have children, ولد ولا ولد ابن, or grandchildren, ولا اثنان من الإخوة والأخوات فصاعدا, and or for example 2 or more brothers and sisters. Okay, so in that situation she will receive 1/3. Just small. ويفرض لها في مسألتين ثلث ما بقي بعد فرض الزوج أو الزوجة. And in two situations, the mother will get third of everything which is left over. Okay, so in two situations. So what are these two situations? So he says, وهما, these two situations, زوج وأبوان, that's the first, and وامرأة وأبوان. So the first is husband. So a lady dies, female dies, okay, and she has husband, okay, and parents. So in that situation, mother will get third of everything which is left over after these, okay. And the second is the same, but with the wife and two parents. She gets third of everything which is left over. وهو لكل اثنين فصاعدا من ولد الأم ذكورهم وإناثهم فيه ذكورهم وإناثهم فيه سواء. And also third is given to two or more, okay, two or more of the brothers and sisters through the mother's side, okay, and in that they receive equal share. Okay, so if you remember in some of the masail, when it is left over, okay, so when it's taken as asaba, so males get double of what female gets, but in this situation they will get equal share. And then last one is 1/6. والسدس فرض سبعة. So 7 category of people will get the 1/6. لكل واحد من الأبوين مع الولد أو ولد الابن. So each of the parents will get 1/6 if there is فرع وارث, okay, for example the son, or children of the son. So in that situation, each of the parents will get 1/8. وللأم مع الإخوة والأخوات من أي جهة كانوا. And also the mother will get 6th, okay, if there are brothers of the deceased person, brothers and sisters, regardless from which side, okay, from the father side or from the mother side, or full brothers and sisters. وللجدات وللجدات, and also the grandmothers will get the 6th, obviously full grandmother, okay, from the father and mother side. وللجد مع الولد أو ولد الابن, and also the grandfather gets it, okay, with the فرع وارث. فرع وارث is children or grandchildren from the son's side. ولبنات الابن مع البنت, and also sons, daughters will get it with the daughter, okay. So if you remember, what is the share of the daughter? So it is half, isn't it? Okay, but if it would be more than one daughter, for example 2, okay, so we said 2/3. You understand? So what's the difference between half and 2/3? It's 1/6. You understand? So let's suppose that John Smith dies and he leaves one daughter, okay, and granddaughters from his son's side. Son is no more there. Son is dead. Okay, so in that situation, we class them as two. So we give them the share of 2 daughters. So one daughter gets the half, okay, and that extra, which is 1/6, is given to the granddaughters from the son's side. Where are we? Okay. Okay. ولبنات الابن مع البنت وللأخوات لأب مع الأخت لأب وأم. And also the sisters from the father's side, so half sisters, will get it with full sister, okay. ولواحد من ولد الأم. And also if there is for example you have so John Smith dies, okay, and from his, so he has half brother from his mother's side, okay, so he gets 1/6 also, okay. So these are the shares, okay. So that is maybe the hardest part, okay, of the inheritance, and everything else is very easy. So if you memorize it, Okay, so everything else becomes very easy. وتسقط الجدات بالأم والجد والإخوة والأخوات بالأب. Obviously, now we're talking about the الحجب. So we have separate chapter on حجب. Let me see. So this is actually the حجب. No, حجب is coming. Okay, so you know the حجب is coming from the root of hijab, حجب يحجب. So it is blocking, curtain. Okay, hijab is to block, to protect. Okay, so in inheritance we have two types of blocking. Okay, so it's either full blocking, okay, الحجب الكامل or الحجب التام, or حجب from the maximum to the minimum share. Okay, so now he's giving us some examples for the full hajj, in which some of the relatives will be banned by another one. تسقط الجدات بالأم. So the grandmothers will be blocked, will be banned by the mother, which means that grandmothers do not get their share. For example, 1/6, as long as there is mother will get it. والجد, and the grandfather and brothers and sisters, all of them will be blocked by the father. So as long as father is there, they do not receive the inheritance. ويسقط ولد الأم بأربعة. So the four category of people, four category of relatives, they ban the half brother, okay, or half brother and sister from the mother's side. So what are these four categories? By the children. So for example, John Smith has half brother or half sister from his mother's side. Okay, so half brother and sister will receive as long as there are not these four categories of people. The first is children or children of the son, grandchildren, and the father and grandfather. Okay, so as long as there are these any of these four categories, so half brothers and half sisters will not, from the mother's side, will not receive the inheritance. وإذا استكمل البنات الثلثين سقط بنات الابن. Okay, إلا أن يكون. So anyway, if you remember, in terms of the daughters, okay, and granddaughters from the son's side, okay. So if you remember, we said that they get 1/6, if you remember, because 2/3 granted to them. Okay, but if but then again 2/3 received by two daughters or more. So means if there are two, as long as 2/3 are given to the daughters, two or more daughters, so granddaughters will receive nothing. Understand? Unless there is in their level there is a male heir also. So in our situation, two daughters, okay, and also one granddaughter from the son's side and her brother also. So her brother will do asaba. You understand? So by making asaba, he will protect the right of the sister also. So now she will receive. Or else, if there would not be the brother, so the sisters, the daughters would get 2/3, and there would be nothing left for the granddaughter from the son's side. Understand? Then he says, وإذا استكمل الأخوات لأب وأم الثلثين سقطت الأخوات لأب. And also two or more sisters two sisters or more, they receive 2/3. Okay, so by that the sisters, full sisters, so by these 2/3 which are granted to the sisters, full sisters, they block the half sisters from the father's side, unless there is a brother only from the father's side, okay, who makes asaba. So the brother will bring back the half sisters to inherit also because of that. But if they would not be half brother, okay, so the half sisters would get nothing because 2/3 gone, okay, for the full sisters. Okay, now أقرب العصبات. Okay, so now العصبة. Okay, so what is the meaning of عصبة? So عصبة linguistically, عصبة means strength. Okay, عصبة, and even for example عصابة. Okay, عصابة is used for the mafia. عصابة is group of gang. Okay, why? Because they have strength. Okay, and also عصابة, you know, عصبة رأسه, you know, for example, bandage, you know, that like fabric on your head when you have so, or even the turban. Okay, so because that is يعصب, so because you wrap it up strongly, strength, so there is strength in it. Okay, so that is the meaning of, yeah. So so that is the linguistic meaning. Okay, but عصبة in the technical term in here, it is a relative who is related to you only through the males. Okay, so it is your paternal uncle, your عصبة. Yeah, so anyone who is related to you through the males, so all of them are technically called عصبة. So he says وأقرب العصبات. So the closest of those relatives are banun. So it is your sons. ثم بنوهم, and then sons of the sons. ثم الأب, then father. ثم الجد, and then paternal grandfather. ثم بنو الأب, and then sons of your father. So half father, half brothers. وهم الإخوة. So they are your brothers. So half brothers. ثم بنو الجد وهم الأعمام, and then the children of your grandfather. So it's your paternal uncles. ثم بنو أبي الجد, and after that the children of your great grandfather. Okay, so these are, so he gave us the asaba in order from the closest to the further. Okay. وإذا استوى بنو أب في الدرجة فأولاهم من كان لأب و. If you remember, he said the brothers are your asaba. Okay, so but what about if you have full brothers and half brothers from the, you know, paternal ones? Okay, so he said the full ones are closer to you. والابن وابن الابن والإخوة يقاسمون أخواتهم. So these category of people, they will be sharing with their sisters. So the sons, okay, as well as grandsons from the son's side, so they will be sharing with their sisters. How? للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. So they will be receiving, so male will receive double of what female receives. ومن عداهم من العصبات ينفرد بالميراث ذكورهم دون إناثهم. But the rest of the asabat, so females will not be included. Okay, so if all of the shares are given, so whatever is left over, so only the male will receive it. Okay, so for example, the paternal uncle, so he will not be sharing the inheritance with his sister, which is your paternal auntie. No, he will get everything left over will go to him. Okay, but the ones who will be sharing with their sisters, it is the sons and sons of the sons. So only these two categories will share it with their female with their sisters. Okay, so male receives twice as much as the female, and the rest of the asaba, they will only the males will get it. Okay, so they will not be sharing it with the females. وإذا لم يكن عصبة من النسب فالعصبة هو المولى المعتق. So he says, but what about if someone dies, okay, and he does not have asaba. So who will receive the inheritance? So he says, in that case, the master who freed him. Okay. ثم أقرب عصبة المولى. But if master is also dead, so then the closest asaba of the master, so he will inherit the deceased person. Okay. Al-Hajb. Okay, so Al-Hajb, we spoke about this. So there are two categories of Hajb, if you remember. So full Hajb, okay, and the partial Hajb. Okay. So now we are going to that details. Let me see. Okay. وتحجب الأم من الثلث إلى السدس بالولد أو بأخوين. You know, there is this concept, we call it فرع وارث. فرع وارث is فرع, if you know, if you remember, we call it branch. Okay, وارث is heir. Okay, so it is, you can say, alternative heir. Okay, so that is the meaning of فرع وارث. So normally the Hajb, you know, Hajb normally happens by فرع وارث. So that's what we're going to discuss now. وتحجب الأم من الثلث إلى السدس بالولد. So mother, okay, so if you remember, we said her share is 1/3. Do you remember? But she will be partially blocked from third, so she will get 6th if deceased person has a child. أو بأخوين, or deceased person has 2 brothers. Okay, so in that condition, mother will not get 1/3, but she will drop down to 1/6. والفاضل عن فرض البنات لبني الابن وأخواتهم للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. And also, let's suppose that John Smith dies, okay, and then he leaves 2 daughters, or for example 3 daughters, okay, and grandchildren from his son's side. So what's going to happen? Okay, so the daughters will get 2/3, okay, and the rest will go to the grandchildren from his son's side. Okay, للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. So the male will receive a double as female's share. والفاضل عن فرض الأختين من الأب والأم للإخوة والأخوات من الأب للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. And also the leftover inheritance from 2 sisters, full sisters, it will go back to the sisters, to the brothers and sisters, half brothers and sisters, you know, from the father's side. Okay, so full sisters, 2 full sisters will get 2/3. Okay, and the rest will go to the half brothers and sisters. Okay, again, للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. Well, as you see, it's only memorizing, you know. Maybe it's one of the most boring chapter in the fiqh, because you don't analyze anything but only memorize. وإذا ترك بنتا وبنات ابن وبني ابن فللبنت النصف والباقي لبني الابن وأخواتهم للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. It's again similar مسألة as the previous one. So someone dies and he has 1 daughter, okay, and then grandchildren from his son's side. Okay, so obviously the daughter straight away half. It's only 1 daughter, and the rest will go back to the grandchildren. للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. وكذلك الفاضل عن فرض الأخت من الأب والأم لبني الأب وبنات الأب للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. Yeah, so it's the same. It's like a similar masala as the previous one. So the sister, she gets half, okay, full sister, and you have half sisters and brothers, okay, from the father side. So the full sister will get half, and the rest will go back to the half sisters and brothers. للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. So it's similar, all of them are similar مسائل. Okay. ومن ترك ابني عم أحدهما أخ ومن ترك ابني عم أحدهما أخ لأم فللأخ للأم السدس والباقي بينهما. So we have this scenario in which Mahmoud, okay, Mahmoud, he has two cousins, okay. So one of his cousins, actually his brother, half brother from his mother's side. So it means that after the death of his father, his mother married his uncle, paternal uncle. So based on that, and then she gave birth. So you know, this new born baby is the cousin of Mahmoud, because it's his paternal uncle's son, but also his brother also. Understand? Because it is his mother's son also, so it is half brother. Understand? فللأخ للأم السدس. So because of that, so the newborn baby will get 1/6, okay, and then والباقي بينهما, and the rest will go back to them because they are also asaba, because it's uncle, paternal uncle, so they will take it share. So it means these two cousins, okay, so one of them will get lesser because he's inheriting only as asaba, okay, but one of them will receive from both ways, as half brother and also as cousin, also from both ways. The next mas'ala, we call it al-mas'alatul musharrika, al-mas'alatul musharraka. Okay, so it's a famous mas'ala in it's famous mas'ala because of this the example which was given. Okay, so we call it also al-mas'alatul himariya, donkey mas'ala. Yeah, so it happened in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. Okay, so this mas'ala was brought to him. Okay, so and then Umar radiallahu anhu, so he has dismissed the share of the what was it, children? I cannot recall it. We'll see it now. So it was the first time, and then next year they brought something similar. Okay, it's actually children, so sons. Okay, and the next year when it was brought, because the children are asaba, sons are asaba, so the next time when the same mas'ala was brought, so Umar radiallahu anhu made the same decision, said sons are not receiving anything. Okay, so then Zayd ibn Thabit, as far as I remember, the Sahabi, he said, "Ya Khalifa, can we just consider, even if we consider that father was a donkey, so that just because of being father, he will preserve that right, you know?" So it was that very funny situation. So that's why the mas'ala is called al-mas'ala al-himariya. Okay, so Allah. So anyway, so what is this mas'ala? So he says, أن تترك المرأة زوجا. So the lady dies, okay, and then the heirs are husband, okay, and then mother or grandmother, and then two وأختين من أم وأخا لأب وأم. Okay, so two daughters, أختين من أب, and then the brother لأب وأم. So my example was incorrect. Okay, so it was not the children, but it's actually the brother. لأب وأم. Okay, so full brother. فللزوج, so in that scenario, husband gets half. Because if you remember the share of the husband, if there is no فرع وارث, half. But if there is فرع وارث, so it's quarter. وللأم السدس, because there is فرع وارث. I'm sorry, there is sisters. Okay, so because of the, it's فرع وارث, sisters, she's getting 1/6, or else she would get third. ولولد الأم الثلث. Okay, and then the child from the mother gets 1/3. ولا شيء للإخوة. ولا شيء للإخوة من الأب والأم. And the brothers, full brothers, get nothing. So that is the example. If you can just find this mas'ala, okay, in the Athar book, okay, so in the Hadithi collections, it's got funny example, Okay, anyway, Babur Rad. What is Rad? So sometimes you, after giving away the fara'id, okay, yet there will be some extra. Okay, so what do you do with that extra? Do you just give it away as charity, or do you build some mosque, etc.? No. So we say in the fara'id, we just reapply the same thing again until we just finish off that extra. Okay, so that is the thing. Kitab al-Rad. So because Radda yaruddu in Arabic language means to return, isn't it? To return or to reapply. So wal-fadil an fardi dhawi siham. So that extra which is left over, okay, from the shares, siham is that specified shares, fara'id. إذا لم يكن عصبة, so as long as there is no عصبة, مردودة عليهم بمقدار. So we reapply the same procedure again on them. Okay, so for example, quarter for the husband. So all of that will be again reapplied. But إذا لم يكن عصبة, as long as there is no عصبة, because if you remember, عصبة will get everything if any left over. But if nothing is left over, عصبة get nothing. Okay, so if you remember مسألة مشاركة in the previous مسألة, so the full brothers, they were عصبة, but because nothing left for them, okay, so they were just left over. They did not receive anything because they are عصبة. Again, عصبة did not have a specific share. Okay, so if there is no عصبة, there are only أصحاب الفروض, okay, or أصحاب السهام. So then we reapply the same fara'id again until we just finish off that leftover. إلا على الزوجين, except the husband and wife. Okay, so let's suppose that in our mas'ala we just give away the shares, and there is yet extra remaining, 10,000 pounds. So when we make rad, we exclude the husband or we exclude the wife, and then we reapply on the same way. Okay, so because it's based on that, وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلَى مِنْ بَعْضٍ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ. If you remember, أُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ, the relatives, okay, so the blood relatives, they have better right upon one another, okay? And the relationship of the husband to wife and the wife to the husband is not through the ul arham, it's not a blood relationship. So that's why we exclude them and then we apply the rod. Okay. ولا يرث القاتل من المقتول. Okay, so we spoke about it. So the killer will not get any inheritance from the victim. والكفر كله ملة واحدة يتوارث به أهله. And the non-Muslims, okay, so all of them are one nation. So Zoroastrian will receive from Christian relatives. But only the exemption is لا يرث المسلم من الكافر ولا الكافر من المسلم. So non-Muslim will not inherit from his Muslim relative as well as other way around also. Okay, so obviously relatives mashayikh, they made some exemption for this, which we already explained. ومال المرتد لورثته من المسلمين وما اكتسبه في حال ردته فيء. Okay, so we spoke about it also. The apostate, so what happens to his inheritance? So whatever he has earned while being Muslim, so all of that will go back to his Muslim relatives. Okay, but whatever he has earned as non-Muslim, that will go back to the Baytul Mal as a booty. Okay, fay. So it will just go back to the Baytul Mal. Okay, so but what about now? Okay, so when there is no Baytul Mal, okay, so some mashayikh said it's the duty of the relatives to give it away to the same directions to which Baytul Mal would give away, you know, all of them complicated things. And the easiest way, they said, no, it will just be given away to the Muslim relatives. Okay. وإذا غرق جماعة أو سقط عليهم حائط فلم يعلم من مات منهم أولا فمال كل واحد منهم للأحياء من ورثته. Okay, so let's suppose that group of people, they died. Okay, but anyway, and we don't know who died first because we have to apply. So if two people die one after the other, so we apply the principles according to that, isn't it? So for example, John Smith and his son. Okay, so John Smith will have other sons also, as well as his sons will have his, so each of them will have their own inheritance. So if John Smith dies, okay, and then after 1 hour his son dies, now we know who died first. So we preserve the share of the son from John Smith, and whatever is preserved, it will be just given away to the son of the son, isn't it? But what about if they die on the way? We are not sure who died first. Okay, so in that case, we dismiss this fact. So we consider as each of them died independently. So what would happen then? Okay, so it means the son of John Smith loses his share. You understand? So that's how we do the thing. Okay. وإذا اجتمع في المجوسي قرابتان لو تفرقت في شخصين ورث أحدهما مع الآخر ورث بهما. Okay, so let's suppose that Zoroastrian. Okay, so he's giving the example of Zoroastrians because I don't know where did they get this concept from, but it is incorrect. You know, it is not a correct thing. They say in our early books. Okay, so they say yeah, in Zoroastrian religion. They marry, you know, for example, son can marry the mother, okay, or sisters and brothers can marry each other. It's not that. Okay, I just check it with Zoroastrians. They say no, it's not in their religion, but I don't know. Maybe it was some branch of Zoroastrian religion. Okay, yeah, and there is another non-accuracy in our books. They say, you know, Kisra, the Persian emperor in that time. So they say he actually married his mother and his sister. Okay, mother means father's wife, you know. So no, that's also not accurate. Okay, so I don't know where our historians take this information. So anyway, if Zoroastrian, so some Zoroastrian, okay, person, he has two relationships to the deceased person. Okay, but besides that married thing, you know, but some other way. Okay, so so he will receive the inheritance through both of the ways, as we did, you know, in Islam. Do you remember? Cousin as well as half brother. Do you remember? Maternal brother, half brother. So person was receiving through two ways. Okay, as asaba, I mean, as a cousin as well as a half brother also. Do you remember? Okay, so the same thing will be applied on the Zoroastrian person also. ولا يرث المجوسي بالأنكحة الفاسدة التي يستحلونها في دينهم. But that the Zoroastrian person will not receive the inheritance through the incorrect marriages. Okay, so for example, well, it's not a correct example, but let's assume, you know, this person married, for example, his father's wife, non-valid. So, and then she dies. Will he receive as husband or not? So he says no. Yeah, so it's a strange concept, to be honest. وعصبة ولد الزنا وولد الملاعنة مولى أمهما. Okay, so let's suppose that okay, so we have this ولد الزنا. Okay, so asaba, if you remember what's the meaning of asaba, it is your relatives who are related to you through the males. Do you remember? Okay, so but ولد الزنا is attached to the mother because there is no father. Okay, so does that person have asaba or not? So he says yes. So his asaba is the male relatives of the master, if there is such. Okay, and the same thing is waladul mula'ana. What's the meaning of waladul mula'ana? So husband accuses his wife in adultery. Okay, so if you remember the concept of mula'ana, and he does not have, for example, witnesses, so in that case, husband will take oath 4 times, and after, do you remember, after taking oath, they will be separated. Okay, and then the child will not be attached to the father of the mula'ana, the husband of the mula'ana. But so does he have asaba, this child? So he says yes, mawla al-um. So the male relatives of the master of the mother. Okay, well, as you guys can see, it's only about memorizing, you know, the fara'id is only about memorizing. Okay, Sayyidi. وَمَنْ مَاتَ وَتَرَكَ حَمْلًا وُقِفَ مَالُهُ حَتَّى تَضَعَ امْرَأَتُهُ حَمْلَهَا فِي قَوْلِ أَبِي حَنِيفَةَ. Okay, so John Smith dies, okay, and then his wife is pregnant. Okay, so do we give away the inheritance or not? Okay, so we have 3 opinions. Abu Hanifa says we just wait, we just hold until she gives birth. Okay, just to avoid the hassle, because if we give away, what about if there is, for example, twins, or so then do we call them back? You understand? So Abu Hanifa says we wait until she gives birth, and based on that we just give away. Okay, first opinion. Second opinion says we just give away everything except the share of 2 sons. Okay, because that's the most common maximum. Could be more, for example, 5 twins or triplets, but the most common one is twins, and the highest of the twins is 2 males. Okay, Abu Yusuf says no, we just preserve only the share of 1 male son, and we just give away everything. You understand? So anyway, these are 3 opinions. Then he says وَالْجَدُّ أَوْلَى بِالْمِيرَاثِ مِنَ الْإِخْوَةِ عِنْدَ أَبِي حَنِيفَةَ. So grandfather has more rights. Okay, so in here we're talking about the asab also. Who is more closer? So Abu Hanifa says, so if there is brothers and grandfather, so who has more right? Abu Hanifa says grandfather, because if you remember, father was blocking the brothers. Do you remember? Okay, so Abu Hanifa considers grandfather as the father, because in the fiqh, actually, in many places, grandfather actually replaces the father. Okay, for example, in the wilaya, okay, wali. Okay, so who is the supervisor if there are brothers and grandfather? So grandfather will take over. So it's consistent with that concept. وقال أبو يوسف محمد يقاسمهم إلا أن تنقصه المقاسمة من الثلث. According to Sahabain, no, they all are equal, so they will be taking share. Okay, unless if by sharing it with them, grandfather will get less than 1/3. In that case, he gets the 1/3. Okay, and then it will be shared. If I'm not mistaken, the mu'tamad is called Abu Hanifa. وإذا اجتمعت الجدات فالسدس لأقربهن. So if there will be grandmothers, so then 1/6 is granted to the closest one. So the closest grandmother, she blocks the furthest one. ويحجب الجد أمه. And the grandfather will block his mother. Okay, so if there is grandfather from the father's side and his mother, so grandfather and grandmother. So grandfather will block the grandmother, his own mother. So she will receive nothing. ولا ترث أم أبي الأم بسهم وكل جد تحجب أمها. ولا ترث أم أبي الأم بسهم. ولا ترث أم أبي الأم okay. So she's fasid. Yes, it's fasid grandmother. Look, so we have this concept. I don't know, did I explain it or not? So we have two two types of grandmothers, if you remember. Okay, al-jaddatul sahiha and al-jaddatul fasida. So any grandmother of yours related to you only through the males, so we call them al-jaddatul sahiha. Okay, and any grandmother who is related to you through a female, we call it al-jadda al-fasida. Okay, so al-jadda al-fasida in this scenario does not receive any inheritance. وَكُلُّ جَدَّةٍ تَحْجُبُ أُمَّهَا. And also, each grandmother blocks her mother. Okay, so that is, it's quite easier to understand here. Okay, Saidi. Now, Dhawul Arham. Okay, so what we're going to discuss now, it is a technical concept. Okay, so technical concept means there could be potentially disagreement. Okay, so do not take it as a linguistic thing. Okay, so Dhawul Arham are the ones who are linguistically the ones who are related to you through a womb. So anyone between you and him, there is a womb, so that is your Dhu Rahim. Okay, it is the linguistic term. Okay, but then does he have to be mahram? No. So if you know, there are two types, isn't it? Dhu Rahim muharram and Dhu Rahim غير muharram. Okay, for example, my cousin, maternal cousin, okay, she's my Dhu Rahim, but is she muharram? No, she's not muharram. Understand? But my auntie, maternal auntie, so she's Dhu Rahim, but muharram also. Understand? So that is linguistically. But technically, so he's going to give us the technical definition. So based on the linguistic definition, okay, so some of the asaba could be Dhu Rahim also. Understand? Some of the asaba. Okay. If you can give me example, you will be genius. Okay, quite difficult to find the one. Because if you remember, in the technical term, asaba, it is anyone who's related to through the male. Do you remember? Okay, so anyway, just keep it like that. So anyway, so what is the Dhu Rahim? So he says, إذا لم يكن للميت عصبة, so as long if there is no asaba, ولا ذو سهم, and there is no أصحاب الفرائض, okay, وَرِثَهُ ذَوُ أَرْحَامِهِ, only then the ذَوُ الْأَرْحَام will get. So it means Dhu Rahim is very weak, you can say, connection in the fiqhi term. Okay, so who are the Dhu Rahim? So he says, وَهُ. Yeah. What's the question? Okay. وَهُمْ عَشَرَةٌ. So in the technical term, there are of the Dhu Rahim, Dhu Arham, Dhu Rahim. Waladul Bint, so your grandchildren from your daughter's side. Waladul Ukht, okay, your nephews and nieces from your sister's children. Wabnatul Akh, and your brother's daughter. Wabnatul Am, and your cousin, female cousin, paternal. Wal Khal, your maternal uncle. Wal Khala, your maternal auntie. Wa Abul and your maternal grandfather. والعم من الأم, and your uncle from the mother's side. Okay, your paternal uncle from your mother's side. So it means your mother's father's son. Okay, so that is your uncle because father. Okay, but because your mother's no, your mother's paternal uncle. Okay, so that is paternal uncle, but to your mother. But for you, it will be again, there is female, ذو رحم. والعم من الأم, and also your uncle from your mother's side, والعمة, and your paternal auntie, وولد الأخ من الأم, and your half brothers from your mother's side, your half brothers, children of your half brother from your maternal side, ومن أدلى بهم, and anyone who came from your half brother from your from your mother's side. So his children, his grandchildren, so all of them. So these are the ذوي الأرحام in the technical term. Okay, do not confuse it with the linguistic term. Okay, so there will be some differences in some certain scenarios. Okay, so now we know the all of the 10 categories. Now let's find out the order. Who are the closest? Okay, but now question, what do we do with them? Okay, so do we apply the similar concept of as ذو رحم, I'm sorry, as فرائض, ذو سهم, or do we apply as asaba? No, we apply as asaba. You understand? So whatever we said about asaba, same will be applicable on ذوي الأرحام also. وأولاهم ولد الميت. So as it was asaba, in asaba, the closest it was the children, and then children of the children from the male side, and then parent, father, and do you remember? So the same is applicable even in here. So he says وأولاهم ولد الميت. So the closest ones are the children of the deceased person. I mean, the ones who came from him. So for example, your daughter's son. ثم ولد الأبوين, and then the children of your parents, أو أحدهما, or one of them, the children of one of your parents. وهم بنات الإخوة وولد الأخوات. So who are they? So he says the children of your of your sisters. ثم ولد أبويه أو أحدهما, and then the children of the of your grandfather or great grandfather. وهم الأخوال, so they are the maternal uncles and aunties. والعمات, or paternal aunties. وإذا استوى ولد أب في درجة فأولاهم من أدلى بوارث. Okay, so if you have two of them, two of the ذوي الأرحام, okay, who are coming from your father. So for example, let's say your maternal aunties. Okay, so he says فأولاهم من أدلى بوارث. So the closest one who has on that level, who has heir. Okay, so obviously because your paternal your paternal uncle, okay, so he is the waris, so means he will have the share. Okay, or the same thing is, for example, in terms of your daughter's children. Okay, so if on that level we have heir, okay, so means they have more right, they are classed as closest. Okay, so then he says وأقربهم أولى من أبعدهم. Obviously it's exactly as the asaba, the closest ones, they are superior to the further one. Means if there is one closer, okay, so the three of them, one closer and the other two are a bit further. So one closer will take everything. Okay, so it's exactly as asaba. وأبو الأم أولى من ولد الأخ والأخت. So the father, your maternal grandfather, has more right than your nieces and your nephews and nieces, of your brother, through your brother and sister. Okay, so maternal grandfather has more. So it's exactly as the asaba, as we say. So whatever we said about asaba is applicable on the zawul arham also. So maybe you have to just contemplate over, comparing the examples of asaba on zawul arham. So that is a bit of contemplation. Okay. والمعتق أحق بالفاضل عن سهم ذوي السهام إذا لم تكن عصبة سواه. Okay. If you remember, we have this concept of rad. Do you remember? So rad is when you give away the saham and there is no asaba. So what do? We reapply the same faraid again. But what about if there is asaba? So asaba takes everything. But now question, what about, we have two heirs. One is a group of those siham, specific, but no asaba except the mawla al-itaq, mawla al-ni'ma. So he's asaba also. Okay, so is he on the same level of normal asaba, standard asaba or not? So which means that if there is some extra, he will get everything. So, and we do not reapply. So he says, وَالْمُعْتِقُ, the master, Mawla, أَحَقُّ بِالْفَاضِلِ عَنْ سَهْمِ ذَوِ السِّهَامِ إِذَا لَمْ تَكُنْ عَصَبَةٌ. So as long as there is no any other asaba, so he is treated as just normal asaba, means he gets everything else. وَمَوْلَى الْمُوَالَاةِ يَرِثُ. This is another concept, is very, we can say, disagreed upon. Mawla al-muwalat. What's the meaning of Mawla al-muwalat? So let's suppose that John Smith comes to me and says, look, I'm accepting Islam, okay, but I do not have any relatives. Or whatever he says, look, I'm only the Muslim, I'm accepting Islam, and I'm very old, and I have wealth, and obviously I'm appointing you as my Mawla in Islam. Okay, or another person accepts Islam by me, I am the reason. So I'm the Mawla al-Muwalat. So do I receive the inheritance or not? Okay, so he says, وَمَوْلَى الْمُوَالَاتِ يَرِثُ. Yes, he receives. Okay, so as you can see, it is ظاهر الرواية. Okay, but again, we do have very big fights, big debates about this issue. Okay, so anyway, then he says, وَإِذَا تَرَكَ الْمُعْتِقُ أَبَا مَوْلَاهُ وَابْنَ مَوْلَاهُ فَمَالُهُ لِلْإِبْنِ. Okay, so it's again what we said about the asaba. So let's suppose that John Smith dies, okay, and his Mawla is also dead. But we have two people, the son of the Mawla and the father of the Mawla. Who is closer? Well, if you remember, we said in the asaba, the children are closer, do you remember? So in the Mawla, we apply the same thing. So the son of the Mawla is closer than the father of the Mawla. وقال أبو يوسف للأبي السدس والباقي للابن. So, but according to Abu Yusuf, no, they're on the same level. So father, okay, of the Mawla gets 1/6, and the rest is by asaba. It will go to the son of the master. Okay, فإن ترك جد مولاه وأخ مولاه فالمال للجد في قول أبي. So if you remember, same thing in what we mentioned in the asaba. So grandfather and brother. Okay, so if you remember, Abu Hanifa treats the grandfather as father. So as long as there is father, brothers will be blocked. Do you remember? Same concept is applied in here. So he says, فَإِن تَرَكَ جَدَّ مَوْلَاهُ. John Smith dies, his Mawla is dead, but there is no father of the Mawla, but there is grandfather of the Mawla as well as brother of the Mawla. Okay, so he says, فَالْمَالُ لِلْجَدِّ. According to Abu Hanifa, the inheritance will go to the grandfather, because if you remember, Abu Hanifa treats the grandfather as father if there is no father, and father blocks the brothers, so grandfather does it also. وقال أبو محمد هو بينهما, but according to Sahabain, it is between them. Okay, so they get it as asaba, so it's 50-50. Okay. ولا يباع المولى ولا يوهب ولا يباع الولاء أو الولاء ولا يوهب. So wala, let's suppose that I free a slave. So wala comes to me. So I'm the owner of the wala of this slave because I'm the one who freed the slave. Now question, can I sell the right of wala? Okay, so obviously consensus of Ahlul Sunnah, no. Okay, in that case, can I just give it away to someone else as a gift? So he says, wala yuhabu. No, I cannot do that. So means if I freed a slave, so it will be permanently my right. Okay, so I will be the mawla permanently. Okay. Okay. Look, Sayyidi Bilal, I think we did a lot. Obviously, we do have yet about 40 minutes, but I think I would like to stop here because, as you see, it's quite a lot to memorize.
Okay, that's fine, Sheikh.
It's okay, Sayyidi.
Up to you, Sheikh. Wherever you feel better.
Because the rest is just calculation.
Okay.
And because too much to memorize.
Okay, and it's better if they go back and revise, and maybe they got questions next week if they can ask them.
Exactly, yeah. And then, inshallah, I think the next week, that's it, inshallah, next week. Okay, let me see how many. Yeah, that's it, yeah. So next week is going to be the last in Quduri. I think it's mainly about calculations. We'll see what we can do. So next week, inshallah, is the last week in Mukhtasar al-Quduri, and after that, we are free to go back to Usul Shashi, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Just revise it. Okay, so next week, if you guys have any questions, we'll discuss, and next week, inshallah, khatam.
Inshallah.
Yeah, okay. So, and also, in terms of the ijazah, I do have the sanad. Okay, so I don't know. Normally, I do have two things, two certificates. One is isnad, okay, and one is ijazah. Okay, so I'm non-classical Hanafi because according to classical Hanafi, ijazah is higher than isnad. But for me, isnad is higher because they say in ijazah you have to be qualified. Okay, but isnad anyone can get. But I want to do other way around. So I would say normally we do for the ijazah we do as a minimum 60% of pass, okay, 60 or 65. But for isnad over 75%, then we get the isnad. Okay, and if anyone is interested, I'm ready for both isnad and ijazah, but you have to pass the test. Okay, everyone, thank you very much. That's all for today. I will see you next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sheikh. Jazakumullah khair.